Dry season farming is one way to ensure all-year-round farming, which is a great plus for the food security drive. What will, however, make dry season farming yield its full potentials to any nation is the actions taken by such nations to develop and utilize the potentials of dry season farming. In tonight's episode of the program Transforming Agriculture in Nigeria, we are focusing on the potentials for dry season farming in Nigeria and the actions of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to maximally tap into dry season farming for food security, job and wealth creation, and improved livelihood. But before then, we have news from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. I'm your host, Gabriel Ujile, welcoming you to the program. Keep watching.
Every part of Nigeria has something to offer.
The program starts with news from the diary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. In our lineup tonight, stakeholders brainstorm to enhance agricultural seeds production in Africa. Also, Food and Agricultural Organization FAO pledges support to develop agriculture in Nigeria. Details will come your way after this break. Stakeholders in the agricultural seeds industry converged in Abuja for the Seed Connect Africa conference and exhibition to brainstorm on how the agricultural seeds in Africa can be improved to ensure bumper harvest amidst climate change. The theme of the event was Global Declaration of Food Emergency, the role of the seed industry in ensuring Africa's food and nutrition security.
In promoting that.
The National Agricultural Seed Council, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, as well as some private sector players in the seed industry, organized the event. Speaking during the event, the Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, stated that it was high time Africans woke up to take deliberate action in handling climate change while developing and utilizing good agricultural seeds.
With the economic situation around the world, it is time for Africans to wake up and look at productivity per unit area instead of cutting more trees down, leaving us to the vagaries of climate change. We have the best of brains, which we need to utilize to the fullest. It is therefore time for Africa to feed Africa, and it starts from the right seed.
Speaking in an interview, the Acting Director General of the Nigeria Agricultural Seeds Council, Dr. Ishaku Othman Khalid, stated that the Seed Connect Africa Conference and exhibition would impact significantly on the nation's agricultural sector and Africa in general.
Well, great impact because we are bringing people from different parts of the world, and even those within the country from different parts, different organizations. We share ideas together and see and think of modern best practices that will produce better results in agricultural productions.
The Food and Agricultural Organization FAO of the United Nations has reaffirmed the commitment of the organization to the development of agriculture in Nigeria. This affirmation was made during a courtesy call by a team from FAO to the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in Abuja. A director in the Office of Emergencies and Resilience of the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, Ryan Paulson, said FAO understood Nigeria's potentials in agriculture and the challenges confronting agriculture in Nigeria and would support the country to remain resilient in dealing with challenges and ensure food security.
The Food and Agriculture Organization has around how we support sustainable transformation of agri-food systems in the member countries around the world, and making sure that no one's left behind. And the ones that are furthest left behind, of course, typically, as you well know, as you know better than I do, are the people in acute food insecurity. So the purpose of this mission really then is to follow up as promised with the FAO Nigeria team, the excellent work they are doing here, and to see what else we can do from a headquarters level to support the team as the team is working to support as best possible the vision of the government.
In his response, the Honorable Minister of State, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, appreciated the Food and Agricultural Organization for their support in the agricultural sector in Nigeria. He further appealed for knowledge sharing to tackle challenges in the agricultural sector, especially the poultry subsector.
When you talked about resilience, it's a very important concept. And for us here, we are having so many dynamics that really call for attention. For example, the issue of poultry production in Nigeria gained traction, and a number of families were involved in producing at small scale level. But right now, that poultry industry is under threat because poultry feed has become expensive, no thanks to the shortage of maize and other proteinous sources. So you can see the system is being stretched. So how do we get the system recalibrated? And here sometimes what we're beginning to look at is what happened in other climates. What did they do? How did they differentiate between the maize for maybe poultry feed industry vis-a-vis the maize for flour industry, which is for human consumption? What lessons can we learn from there?
We may not be doing the right thing.
Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Dr. N.S. Afolabi Umahihi, and directors of the ministry were also present and made their contributions during the meeting.
On the movement of these birds.
Nigeria, like other developing countries of the world, is faced with food shortages, and several factors have been identified as the cause of the problem. Some of these include climate change, fast-growing population, insecurity, high cost of production, and over-dependence on wet season farming, leading to low productivity that cannot meet the high demands of food in the country. To ensure food security in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is thinking in the direction of all-year-round production and support for farmers to thrive in dry season farming. In our next segment, Record of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, we shall focus on the benefits of dry season farming and the actions of the ministry to develop its potentials in Nigeria. Sit back and watch.
Dry season farming is the practice of cultivating and planting of crops during the dry season when the rains have ceased. The dry season in Nigeria is mostly between October to March. Dry season farming is done through the use of irrigation to water the crops during the period. Dry season farming prevents seasonal limitation of food production, among other benefits.
The ministry is really agog with the issue of irrigation farming. We have come to realize irrigation farming is very important. Important in the sense that it will make people to be busy throughout the year. Agreed, most of the agricultural production we do in Nigeria is rain-fed. But we are trying to bring in that sentiment that let us even use the dry season where water bodies are available, or where there are lowlands that they can even use a washbowl to get water to irrigate. And that is why it has been very important that the dry season for 2023-2024 was formally launched in Jigawa State, last on the 25th to be precise, of November 2023.
Dry season farming, according to experts, is more productive than rain-fed farming.
It has been scientifically proven that when you are even irrigating a crop, you tend to get twice the yield because you determine when to give the water, because looking at the consumptive use of that particular crop, you know the water requirement of that crop, and you will be told how frequent to irrigate. So, and then the crop will get the required quantity of water it desires to really flourish. That is why the yield will tend to be at its maximum.
These enormous benefits underscore the move by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to pay greater attention to dry season farming in order to bridge the gap in the supply of food in Nigeria. This much was revealed by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, at a press briefing to unfold the new thinking of the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu towards Nigeria's agricultural sector.
The immediate priority actions that is ongoing and to the end of this year, 2023, the most pressing actions we are currently handling is preparation for the next dry season farming, beginning from November 2023. To this end, some preparatory activities have been carried out and many others are at advanced stages. 1. Certification of available planting materials for some food security crops in readiness for dry season farming. 2. Aggressive promotion and preparations for dry season farming, which commences from November this year. 3. Implementation of the dry season wheat production, starting in November 2023 as part of the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket (NAGS AP) projects funded by the African Development Bank.
The Dry Season Farming Initiative of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security would focus on increasing the production of staple foods such as rice, maize, wheat, cassava, among others.
Wheat has a time frame of planting from the 15th of November to the 15th of December. That is the opening that you have to plant wheat. But subsequently, we will go into rice, into maize, and even cassava, so that all these are crops we can grow in the dry season. Now, for the wheat, being a special crop, we cannot grow wheat in every state. At least 15 states have the potential to grow wheat. That notwithstanding, we may try to test other places, but for now, we are using these 15 states. That is the 6 states of the Northeast, 7 states of the Northwest, and 2 states in the North Central.
High cost of production has been identified as one of the causes of hunger as the cost of food in Nigeria becomes highly prohibitive. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is supporting farmers with free agricultural seeds and 50% subsidy on other inputs.
Under this particular program that we are doing, the National Agricultural Growth Scheme, Agro Pocket, that is where we have a project coordinator who is handling that particular aspect. But the nitty-gritty of it is that the support is coming to farmers in terms of the inputs that they are going to be given. For seeds, it is free. Agrochemical and fertilizers, the requirement for a particular hectare is subsidized, 50%. So when you go to any redemption center where they have been designated to issue out this input to farmers, you just pay 50% of the total cost.
Make sure that Nigeria attains...
The national president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Architect Kabir Ibrahim, affirmed that farmers are accessing the support seamlessly. He advises his members on what to do to get the input.
If you talk of this, the flag off of the dry season farming, there is some support from the federal government in the form of free seeds and 50% of the prices of input. All you need to do is to give your name, your location, if the program is taking place in that place, and the requirements of inputs. And you will be given seed free, and then you will pay 50% of the prices or the costs of all inputs. Everybody is free to access that.
Seeing is believing. The Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security recently matched its words with actions with the flag off of the dry season farming of wheat in Jigawa State. In our next segment, Partnership for Development, we are focusing on the event marking the official flag off of the dry season farming 2023 and the role of state governments in collaboration with the federal government to ensure the success of the program. Keep watching.
The federal government on Saturday, 25th of November 2023, flagged off the 2023 Dry Season Farming Initiative to overcome seasonal limitation of staple food production in Nigeria and ensure food security in the country. The initiative was officially flagged off in Jigawa State by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, under the Wheat Development Project. The ceremony was attended by the Honorable Minister of State, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, Governor of Jigawa State, Directors of the Federal Agriculture and Food Security, Jigawa State Commissioner of Agriculture, lawmakers, farmers, journalists, and entertainers, among others.
Standing before you today on this occasion of the launch of the 2023 Dry Season Farming Initiative in Nigeria, permit me to congratulate all of us here for being part of positive history, even as we embark on crucial endeavor. By force of its very essence, dry season farming offers us a unique opportunity to harness the untapped potential of our land and diversify Nigeria's food production capabilities.
The minister, during the occasion, further stated that the Dry Season Farming Initiative is a $134 million loan facility supported by the African Development Bank, targeted at providing support to farmers to increase production of staple food such as rice, maize, cassava, wheat, among others.
The aim is to increase crop yield by at least 20% compared to the previous year. These high values staples will be joined by others like soybeans and sorghum in the wet season. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our farmers remain our most prized assets as a nation, given that they produce the bulk of the food consumed in country. As such, His Excellency, Mr. President, has charged us to ensure that they are adequately supported to increase their productivity.
The minister also called on other stakeholders to ensure the success of the project. Ishaku Buba, who is the National Coordinator of the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket Part 2, which is the program that provides support for these staple foods, sheds more light on other strategies of the ministry to ensure the success of the program.
Under the program, farmers are going to be supported on agri-input based on agronomic best practices. As you may be aware, in order to follow the best practices, soil samples were taken across Jigawa State, about 300. Same was taken in Gombe, Sokoto, and Kano, in order to determine the nutrient status of the soil, to come out with a recommendation that will be able to support wheat crop production in Nigeria, particularly in Jigawa State, so that at the end of the day, our estimated yield will be maximally obtained, and the farmers participating under the program will be able to gain the required output to be able to improve their economic status and add to the National Food Reserve.
Aside the seed freely given to the farmers and the 50% subsidy for other inputs, the ministry is also supporting the farmers with extension services to ensure bumper harvest.
And we are using ICT in order to provide the input, and the essence is to promote transparency, accountability, and easy assessment of impact. To the farmers, I'm asked to tell you that gone are the days where you carry this input and go and resell it. You will be monitored right from field preparation up to harvest. You will be linked up to an off-takers. So please be serious. You'll be seeing a lot of monitoring coming to see what you are doing. So don't collect this input and sit in your house. We want to be seeing you on the field. Extension master trainers has been carried out so that they can be able to support you all through the farm.
The role of state governments to ensure the success of the dry season farming initiative of the federal government cannot be overemphasized.
out of the 100,000 hectares.
Speaking at the occasion, the governor of Jigawa State, Umar Namadi, appreciated the federal government for the support to farmers in Jigawa State and other states where the project would be implemented.
Each of these farmers will be provided with input subsidy support granted by the federal government, equivalent to 50% of the estimated cost of the package input requirement, amounting to about 361,000 naira per hectare. While each farmer is expected to pay only 12.5% of the total cost of the input package, equivalent to 42,125 per hectare at a point of input collection, the balance of 135,375 will be recovered after harvest.
For the Director, Federal Department of Agriculture, in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, other states of the Federation should emulate Jigawa State, which provided 40,000 hectares of farmland for the cultivation of wheat in the state, and also assisted farmers in paying part of the cost of production.
So it is really a welcome idea for all the states, particularly the 15 states, to make sure that they support their farmers. I'm sure supporting these farmers may just be 1 or 2 seasons, because after that, a farmer will be able to at least take care of himself. Looking at the cost-benefit analysis, when you plant a hectare, there is tendency you can get at least 80 bags of wheat. As at now, 1 bag costs 50,000. When you do the simple arithmetic, you will find out that on that hectare you will get 4 million naira. You would have spent only 361. Looking at even everything, the cost, despite the fact that the federal government has taken off 50% for you. So you will see that the profit margin you are getting is not a small one. If that season will repeat itself, you don't need even the government to support you. If you can invest your 361,000, you get another 4 million, which is a very good business.
There is also assurance from the government that implementation of the dry season farming initiative combined with the wet season farming would amount to job creation and food surplus, which will nip hunger in the bud.
Farmers are excited with the effort of the federal government towards repositioning the agricultural sector. Our crew had an interview with the national president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, and he glowingly spoke of the dry season farming initiative and further made requests for more access to farms, mechanization, and good seeds. Let us hear from him in our next segment, Farmers Speak.
I escorted the minister for the flag off, and I was here, I was in NTA today morning for the Good Morning Nigeria, and all the farmers have keyed in, so many of them have called me, and we are disseminating all the information necessary to them. So everybody is happy with what this current government is doing. In fact, what I said even in NTA was the president is now walking his talk. If you constitute or institute a state of emergency on food security, we should see how you are trying to get around it. The flag off of the dry season farming on wheat is a step in the right direction. It is confirming to us that the administration means business. So we are looking forward to seamless access to our farms, access to mechanization, access to good seeds. This meeting today is showing you that. So everything is being done to make sure that Nigeria attains food security in the shortest possible time.
All things being equal, the Renewed Hope agenda holds the promise that sooner rather than later, no Nigeria will go to bed hungry again. The support of all the stakeholders in the agricultural sector, including other citizens, is what is needed to make this vision a reality. This is the much we can take on tonight's episode. Keep a date with us again, same day, same station, same time, next week for another interesting package. I'm Gabriel Ojile. Have a pleasant night rest.